Hello everyone, Eric Watson here, freelance writer, player of games, writer of words, recorder of videos, and tabletop role-playing aficionado. Welcome to the Monday edition of Bye Weekly behind-the-scenes DM-only live stream crafting Icewind Down, which I build, write, and prepare for our next session of Rime of the Frostmaiden. If you are playing characters Valravn, Frey, Celeste, Edmund, or Thimbleweed, this stream is not the right day or stream or time for you, but for the rest of you, welcome. Assuming you're okay with spoilers, we stream our D&D sessions live on YouTube every Friday. Watch all of our sessions and reviews here on the channel. You can follow me on Twitter at RogueWatson and join our official Discord server. Invite link into the description below. If you'd like to support the channel, please check out patreon.com/RogueWatson. For our campaign, we use Roll20.net, and for streaming, I use Open Broadcaster software with Streamlabs. We are back talking about Icewind, and for once I don't have to drink coffee because I took a nap earlier because I was really tired. My goodness, I've had so many late nights. 3 of my last 4 nights have been super late nights, staying up playing either D&D or video games, and it's been my body's like, why you're not a spring chicken anymore, why are you doing this to me, stop it. I finally had to take a nap today, but we're better now. So currently the players are in the Tower of Divination. I think we've already covered that one pretty well. We did get through the Arboretum last time, which was nice to be able to complete a section. I think that went really well too, and it was good to have a Frostside chat about it. It was really enjoyable. Honestly, the library and the Arboretum I thought both worked pretty well, and I was pretty pleased with that. But we are on session 82, and the players will have are only on the 3rd tower. I can pretty much tell you they're definitely not going to be doing all 8 towers. And I'm probably going to only make them do 5. Mainly because they got the trophy from the Chain Lightning Stadium. That would be a cool thing, is that, unlike Tower of Abjuration, where you knew you had to go get the wand from the Arboretum, and then unlike the Tower of Divination, where you know you have to get the spell book from whatever location we decide here, they've already got the trophy for the Tower of Evocation, which is, I like how all those towers make you go to all these different areas. It's good open world game design. And they've already got the trophy, so they can complete the Tower of Evocation, and I just think it's kind of a neat location in general, and I might be able to have fun scaling that one up. But after that, I think we'll have them meet up with the other characters. Maybe Nass has taken over the body of the Ice Devil. Maybe the Ice Devil just killed them. Maybe they killed the Ice Devil. I don't know if I really don't care about the Ice Devil, but I think it'd be funny to have her in the body of the Ice Devil. And then we have to start planning our central spire, not to mention the arrival of Avarice and maybe her army of people, and how that comes into play without being like a big, Deus Ex Machina thing. So I need to have like Valravn's Sending Stone cell phone go off, I guess, and start vibrating. Hopefully we can come up with something good there. But yeah, Tower of Divination, I'm going to put them in initiative order. They learn some information about what some of the different things do, and it's up to them to kind of prepare as best as they can. And of course they did say, oh, we need to bar the door, which that's fine. What I'll probably do is have the Nothics make like athletics checks, and that would just absorb some of their attacks as they come bursting in. Like, I don't want to penalize the players for using good tactics. It's just that that was the first thing, and one of the things I thought of too in this situation was like, well, of course they're gonna try to bar the door, and that makes a sound decision. But they also only have 1 round to try to do that, so I may have to involve some checks here and there to see how well they can do that. But I think that's why you have to have the door stuck and then have the person break it open, so it's less of a thing of, oh, we quickly shut the door and bar it. Like, well, the door is kind of fucked up now. So how well can you do that, really? Or you could always, well, no, I guess we can't have holes in the walls because they weren't able to get inside, so we would have to have them scratching the doors. Hopefully the players don't have anything that I'm not thinking of that would really stymie this battle from being able to take place, because I do want to hit them with and I realize this is yet another wave-based battle, so I'm getting kind of a lot here, but this is the last one for a while at least. Basically just fighting, instead of fighting big monster bosses, you're fighting just waves and waves of enemies, and we've kind of done that like 3 in a row, but I'm still enjoying it. This is a green slot. I have a good picture, I need to remember to show it. This is the picture, which is actually one of the High Wizards. The High Wizard of the Tower has been transformed into a green slot and is still operating the telescope. It's supposed to be kind of a humorous social encounter, although it can certainly be a combat encounter if we want it to be. and certainly a green slot is kind of imposing looking. The main joke is that this combines, and the Expanded Towers of Magic combines the observatory with the tower, so we get to kind of do both these at one location, which is brilliant. And you need the, I think it's written that the slot is searching for a way out, like looking for a path out of the Etherin, and hasn't yet spotted. I guess the Caves of Hunger has only recently opened up, like in the last couple days or something, and this person's kind of, very insane for being turned into a slot, so they're just kind of haphazardly looking, or maybe they're just, moving it centimeter at a time or something, whatever reason. They haven't found it, and then the players, what they need is to go in and ask, well, we need to know about the Rite of the Arcane Octet and all that, or maybe they'll just kill this and figure it out some way. I think, as written, you can find some message in case the players do that. Where is that one written down? Tower of Divination. There's always a backup plan in case the players go ham. Characters fight and kill Apius. Hope for finding the spellbook is not lost. A search of the observatory reveals haphazard notes scrawled in the weeks prior to Apius's transformation. The notes detail that she was searching for her spellbook for some time, but a ground search was unsuccessful. One account indicates she lost an eye while searching for it through the arcane telescope and fears trying again. Other incomplete sets of notes, the characters learn the following pieces of Etherin lore. Is she not actually searching? I thought she was. Bringing to the eyepiece of the telescope. Yeah, she is. Okay. That part doesn't quite add up. Carolyn from the piece of lore. Okay. So, yeah, she can explain it if they don't. So, it's supposed to be a social scene, and they need the spell book in order, because the information for the Rite of the Arcane Octet is actually written in the spell book. So, they'll need to turn the spell book basically on the city, and then use that to search for a location that they need to go, which is totally up to me as the DM on where I need to put that. So, it could be a fight, but most likely it's going to be a social encounter, especially because the players just had a fight. But if they do, they could certainly piss this person off. I don't think a green slot would have been a tough fight for a level 9 party, but for a level 13 party, even one that presumably just got done with a big fight, probably not too big of a deal. I mean, especially because it's not going to want to use Fireball in this closed space. I mean, it's a decently statted spellcaster, but it's a single spellcaster and it's going to be surrounded by players. So I guess Fear would be the best thing to do, and then go ham. But I'm not really even paying attention to the tactics much because I don't see this being a fight for the most part. And also, I want to play as being mostly insane so that the party doesn't get a whole lot of information, because that will come from the Tower of Necromancy, I'm sure. So where to put this spellbook? We have been prepping Wellspring of Answers as kind of a thing the players could interact with, and also could be a big boss battle fight. It's kind of a weird optional encounter they could do, but it seems too close to be able to do the Wellspring there, but it's kind of an interesting location, and one that they'll probably do just because it's close by, so I could see them going there next, and we can definitely look at fleshing that out more. Probably going to skip the Bazaar. It's not even a thing in the book. It's just where there's a destroyed Iron Golem, and I've got this guy kind of tromping around. I'll probably have him be patrolling this area in general, and then maybe that'll be part of the concern, is that he's like going this way. What I'd like to do is time it where they are leaving. I've been teasing him for a while, and maybe when they're leaving one of the buildings, it's like coming up to them and they've got no chance and they have to fight it, kind of a thing. I can almost force the factor there as a way of saying like, hey, you haven't had a fight in a while, but right now they have had a lot of fights, so I'm throwing that at them right now. They'll get this location, which is the Tower of Necromancy. I'm probably gonna give them the Hall of Silk, but I might just leave it like it is in the book, which is kind of just an interactive thing. Well, I take it back. There's Magian guards outside, but we could skip that if we wanted to, or we could still use the Magians. But that might be where I would put the spell book, is in the Hall of Silk, actually. Or maybe they find it just outside the Hall of Silk, like in the street, and that would give them a... I don't know. Is it worth doing the Hall of Silk or not? It's just kind of a fun little thing. You don't really... Which fun things are fine. So it's a Magian battle, and then you walk in, and the phase spiders can weave you a garment. I feel like you could do a more interesting thing than just an illusory robe that can change things, but maybe the players would have fun with that. Robe with a creature's shoulders and send back to their lair. Each guest can get it only once. Silk robe spun by the spiders is worth 250 gold. And they can loot the store, in which case if they loot the store, maybe the phase spiders turn on them. Is it even worth fighting phase spiders level 13? 13 armor class, 30 hit points. Yeah, they can bonus action shift, but you'd have to make sure that not all of them do it at once, because that would be a pretty boring fight. Shifting back and forth. Poison damage. 4 phase spiders would certainly not be much of a fight at all for CR3, but on the other hand, maybe it's okay to do that also if we're treating this whole thing like a dungeon crawl. Which, by the way, I think we're coming up on a potential long rest here with the players. They mentioned it's been, they're running low on resources, which I agree. They have not long rested since technically entering Ithrin, which was, I believe we're coming up on the 7th session in Ithrin. So I could definitely see them either long resting in the Tower of Divination after they have done all the things in there, or even returning to the Tower of Conjuration, to that extra dimensional mansion they found, which was kind of supposed to be the big safe spot here, and long resting in there. In which case, I think the timing would be good where I might go ahead and let them long rest and level up. But they would all have to make that save against Arcane Blight as well, which, to remind myself, I close that window. No, there it is. Make those tabs like colored or something. Arcane Blight. Humanoid that spends 12 hours in the necropolis must succeed on a DC 15 con save or contract an Arcane Blight. Magical disease transforms the humanoid into a Nothic, only after the victim experiences hallucinations and feelings of isolation and paranoia. So first, you gain a flaw, I don't trust anyone, and you become more paranoid. And then, whenever it finishes a long rest, an infected humanoid must repeat the saving throw. And then you start the clock, basically, which I don't see them getting that many long rests where they could even try to transform, but because you have to fail 3 times, I think. And the first one just gives you the disease. Or really, it spends 12 hours, but that's what I'm going to assume, is that once they long rest, they'll spend the 12 hours. So first they'll have to make the con save to even contract the Arcane Blight and gain the flaw, and then if they long rest again, they'll have to make that save again. And then the DC could change depending on how well they do, but then it starts ticking up where I have to keep track. But they would have to basically make another 3 long rests before the end of the campaign, which maybe that happens, but I would actually honestly doubt it. They do a really good job, and I appreciate it a lot of not abusing the long rest system, and in turn I can create more balanced encounters, and I think the whole game feels a little more appropriately balanced when they do make it go that long. And I've been pretty pleased so far about how this has gone. I didn't know how far we'd make it on a long rest, and we've done a number of locations. I mean, you can literally see them highlighted here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're on our 8th location in Ithrin, and not all of them have been battles technically, but they've all used and demanded some kind of resources. In the case of the Spire entrance, there was a battle right outside of it. In some way, I guess. Maybe House of the Arcane, I guess, did not. Oh, also, when they do that long rest, though, we have to remember that's going to activate all their shit from House of the Arcane. So I need to actually write all this down, because I will abso-fucking forget about that. In case they do long... I mean, they wouldn't long rest until the earliest would be the end of next session. But that is something to be aware of. So I have to keep track of 2 things with their next long rest, which is the Arcane Blight save and the House of the Arcane buffs. I believe they actually go away. I mean, it technically says 24 hours, but, with how long it's taken them, I mean, that was, they did Tower of Conjuration, they did Library, they did Arboretum, they did Tower of Divination, and then they're going to long rest. We'll probably just say that that's the expired time. What if they sleep in the mansion, given that's extra dimensional? Yeah, is that maybe the goal of that was supposed to be? It does say in the necropolis, doesn't it? That's true. I could possibly give them a pass for that if they think about it. They decide to go back into that safe space and rest, then maybe I would actually have them avoid the blight. And at that point, you might as well ignore it altogether, because I don't see, maybe they're going to get 1 or 2 more long rests, and well, I guess maybe it's still worth up with a new flaw there. So, but that is a good point. They could end up going back into that mansion if they think about it. That's just going to be a complete, if I don't help them remind them of it, then I don't know if they would still. I mean, time still passes, I just don't know if you get the same effect. I guess you could argue either way. So where do we think about where to put the spell book, where to force them to go? So the Hall of Silk we can keep like it is. We'd have to just do a street battle map, which I can do easily with a bunch of maging around, and the players can fight them. They could even ambush them. You know, it could be a lot of maging, and the players might think, oh, it's some kind of vault or something, but it's just like a department store, which would be kind of funny. And then the phase spiders coming down. I could change it to be like just a total nice thing that happens though. Maybe the spiders come down and they maybe they enchant your current armor into doing something, or maybe they just give you a magic robe. The only bad thing is if you're gonna do it like that, it would have to be like only one player gets it versus I think as it's originally written, I think everybody can do it. Is that what it is? The center, let's see. Creature steps onto the pedestal. It speaks. Face spiders send silently use their legs. As it was being fashioned, spiders take 10 minutes to create the robe. Each guest can gain this benefit only once. So as it's written, every single person can step up and just get a 250 gold robe. Or if I were to change it to something else, I may have to limit that into like maybe it's the first person that steps up or something. Also, how long can phase spiders live? Like, it's kind of shocking that this is still a thing using actual creatures. These are creatures, right? These are not like constructs or something. Yeah, they're monstrosities. So that part is kind of bizarre. Supposedly they've been living for thousands of years. Maybe they have a different constitution since they can go back and forth between the ethereal realm. I don't know. It does seem a little odd. 15 Tower of Necromancy. We can talk about that. The menagerie and the theater are the big question marks as well in terms of what do we want to do here. And I know we briefly teased doing some fun stuff with the menagerie because it seems like kind of a cool like aviary thing full of monsters. But gosh, between the library and the arboretum and the chain lightning stadium, I've kind of expanded a lot of things already, and I feel like I need to slow down on that because we've done a lot in the city and we've already got at bare minimum they're right now at the beginning of this tower. So we're going to do all of this tower. We're going to do all of the Tower of Necromancy for sure. I'm leaning towards doing all of the Tower of Evocation. And then we've also developing a map and an encounter for the Wellspring of Answers. That's a lot of content left before we even make it into the Spire itself. And so if I want to do Hall of Silk as a you know, there's a little Majin battle map out of there. And then I'll still do my Far Realm incursion events. We could still have this freaking Chardalyn construct tromping around, which I have thought about even making the battle map because I've got him like this as a token, but I'm literally playing it up like it's like, I was gonna say huge, but that's a mechanically defined term in D&D. But like it is a like an actual, maybe not Godzilla size, but to where you would only see like its foot on the battle map or something insane. You know, like it's hard to translate that onto a battlefield. Usually you've just got big, you know, creatures that are like, boom, there's your mini or something. But in this case, like, no, I want to play them like it's as big as a building. And that's a little bit harder to do as a token in a traditional battle map. So maybe we wouldn't even use it. Maybe I'd stick to this map and just roll and have everybody roll attacks and just be like, you know, here's you're a certain distance away, and almost try to theater the mind it, which boy, we really don't do that much in our D&D games, do we? So yeah, 16, the menagerie, it's as written, it's a chance for the players to spill 80 hit points worth of blood in order to get a little bullshit pet that can do different things. I feel like a lot of D&D groups would have a lot of fun with this. I don't think mine would care, unfortunately, about making a pet, and I think the cost is too strong as well. It literally, as written, takes 80 hit points of blood to be distributed into these containers. You pull a lever, you roll a dice, and then you get some kind of random-ass creature out of it, which, okay. I feel like it's called Chimeric Creations. Could we not use an actual chimera here? Would that not be something interesting? What is this CR of a chimera? I don't think I've ever actually used this creature before. There are different versions of it as well. Chimera is a CR6. So at that point, you probably have to use a couple of them to actually threaten the party. But that could be interesting. Maybe it's just a bunch of experimental creatures that they have artificially constructed. But again, these creatures wouldn't still be alive then. And maybe that can tease that. Maybe you go into the aviary and it's just, hey, it's frozen. Whatever creatures were here have long since dead. It's just a graveyard of nothing. And that's just the DM saying, I'm not doing anything in here. There's just, I don't know. Unless you want to do like an undead chimera, but That would be probably the only angle I would go with. Dead Chimera, Eric, that's genius. Yeah, it could be cool. I don't know how to zombify a Chimera, maybe. You'd be making it worse, though. It'd be having, like, shit for hit points. And just gain, like, poison immunity. Probably not be able to use its fire breath anymore. That's a thought. Or maybe some kind of bone creature. I'm looking at Chimera just because it's already exists in like mythology, but there are probably other creatures that are weird monstrosity morph versions. Oh shit. Monster Mania Expanded has a CR16 Ancient Chimera as an option. That's crazy. Really wanted to go full on boss fight. Legendary actions and the whole thing. That's cool. Roar wing attack, yeah. You get to make a bunch of attacks? Yeah, 3 attacks. That's kind of cool. If I could find an undead Chimera token. I'm waffling back and forth. I mean, I just love monster encounters, and that's obviously a fun part of it. But can the alchemy jug make blood? Do they have an alchemy jug? Maybe they do. I don't know. That'd be kind of creepy if it could. I don't think it can, but I don't know off the top of my head. 17 being the theater is a weird one because there's nothing good that can happen here. It's just a curse if they. Well, each of the scripts is cursed. Anyone who spends an hour reading a script must succeed on a saving throw, become cursed. You literally walk in, explore this area. You can pick up these pages and you read them and you curse yourself, and that's the whole place. It sucks. What I would like to do is, God, if I was smart, I would put the Tower of Illusion's stuff, because I like the Tower of Illusion, into the theater. In which case, maybe I put. But then why would they need to interact? Because the reason they have to interact with the stuff in the Tower of Illusion is because they need the Rite of the Arcane Octad. In the theater, it's just an optional place. Unless I put the spellbook in the theater, in which case they need the spellbook. But then I technically can't force them to stay, I guess, unless I really do some bullshit. Because in the Ethereum Expanded Towers, you can only gain the Rite of the Arcane Octad because the programmed illusion of the High Wizard is there, and he demands you basically play out this play and have all these different roles, and it's just a really cute, fun role-playing scene that I do think my players would actually get a kick out of, especially Valravn. Holy crap, being a bit of a thespian. I think that would go over really, really fun with the players. But in that case, it's because they need the information from that High Wizard, and he won't give it to them unless they perform this play, and it's kind of it's a skill challenge, but it's also like role-playing and stuff, too. But if I could put that in the theater, and then somehow maybe the programmed illusion... But see, the problem is, yeah, the illusion hadn't have stolen the book. Maybe it's... can't be hidden somewhere, because that's how they know it's in there. Maybe they can... Maybe the telescope can see it through the walls, but it's in like a safe. And only the illusion knows where this... knows how to open the safe or some bullshit like that, so that they know it's in the theater, but they can't access it without actually completing the theater. Although it may be that I don't have to do all that, and they'll just want to do the theater anyway, because it's fun as hell. So that's a way I can save the players. What's what I was going to save the players from doing a tower, but they will essentially be doing one of the towers. That is literally going to be the Tower of Illusion. I'm just moving it to another area, so I'm effectively, they are doing it. But the only reason I'm skipping it is because it's over here in this corner, and it makes no sense for Baelish and Nass not to have that covered, because they're basically doing this entire part of the map to help save us all some time. But I'm leaning towards doing that, so maybe I will put the theater on the map, and then we can just do... we can combine the theater with the Tower of Illusion in my campaign. That might actually work better. So then I am using the tower, it's just that we're basically doing it here. I can almost say this is the Tower of Illusion, and maybe it broke off, but the Tower of Illusion is... There's clearly a bunch of magic towers here that I can't really ignore. So I think... unless I say that's not that is the Tower of Illusion, that'd be the other option. Maybe this one over here is just a Different tower? I don't know. I mean, I could. The other option is I just make that the Tower of Illusion, and it's just half destroyed. If that's the case, then I don't have to put the spellbook there. That's an interesting thought. That's an interesting thought. I could just literally say this is the Tower of Illusion, but you wouldn't know it because it got off, and hopefully I'm not retconning things too. I mean, because there's like this outer tower that's clearly just, I know it's not a tower, but it looks like it could be on the edge. Maybe this is the same case. Maybe these three are the only towers, and maybe this is actually enchantment, not illusion. I could still force them to come all the way over here for evocation. Figment of the imagination. I really like it. And I think it's a quick one too. It feels like a lot of content at all these towers, and so far they have been a good amount of content for the most part. I think Conjuration actually went pretty decently quick as well, because there's been a significant amount of combat in all of these ones. I think Necromancy should not have any combat in it. It should just be social scenes. In fact, I'm about to put that together right now. And then Illusion will be the same way. It also doesn't have combat. I think the only one remaining that would be Evocation. So, yeah, I'm actually kind of liking the idea of maybe just making that the Tower of Illusion. But somehow identifying it as such. In fact, I'll have these ready. So maybe instead of even doing the question marks, we'll go ahead and put the things on there. I don't know. Or do I wait until they explore it, and that's how I do it? I treat it like a real open world game. I mean, hell, we already did that with the Tower of Necromancy, because this was originally the Observatory, and I'm making this the Tower of Necromancy instead. So what if we change all of the stuff around, because one of the best tools I have as a DM is to change stuff on the overland map. And we actually make this the Tower of Illusion, because the whole time I'm like, man, I wish they could do the Tower of Illusion. Well, let's just make that the fucking tower. Oh, why when I control V, it sends me to the bottom left corner of the map? That's not what I meant. And a Hall of Silk right there. So I'm tempted to just skip this completely, even though it looks like it's a major thing they could interact with. I just don't have a good solution. Maybe when they come up here, I'll be like, yeah, I want to run a fight. We could do some kind of undead monster thing that would still be here. Feeding on like the old, no, because those bodies would be long since frozen and gone. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around what would still be in here. Either A, you treat it like a preserved dome, like the Arboretum, that's like, hey, everything is still, functioning, and somehow the whatever was making food for these creatures is still available. And then why do you have to go in there? We don't know. Some reason. I could put the spell book in there. Or we have it be that the place has been, and you can see, interestingly enough, the map shows it's cracked and damaged, but doesn't actually show it's breached. But you could say it was breached, and then everything in there is killed, and it's a frozen wasteland, and then it's some other dangerous thing in there, or maybe not. The spellbook's in there, and the big twist is there's nothing dangerous in there. That would certainly bring them over to that side, and then right between what I'm going to make basically two of the tower, so that would be a lot of content to do. So that's another thing. Maybe we put the spellbook in the dome, and we don't worry about any of the content in the middle here, other than maybe doing the Hall of Silk if they want to do it. It's too many questions here. I gotta make these decisions. So let's do. Here's my neck. I don't know why the Wellsprings. Here, let's look at the Tower of Necromancy for now, because out of all the questions, that one we know we're gonna for sure do. This to do it. Not the Necrodia map, we need the player map. This one, 11 by 17. That was just an old movie house. Too big. Dimensions. Units. 11 by 17. Proper ratio. A Necromancy Tower. I like how they did try to make it a tower, made like the top level smaller than the bottom level. Funsies, we're gonna paint the background. Particularly green color. Dynamic lighting. I think everything is supposed to be lit though. Mood lighting. One, and then we circles. Nobody's actually coming in and out of these places. Activates the climate control, it starts thawing out zombies. Or like on the undead angle maybe instead. Dead creatures are all that remain. Otherwise you just have to bend over backwards trying to figure out like why would there still be, you know, functioning creature. You can get why like automated stuff and like the mage general constructs, like, you know, that explains it pretty well, but I can actually have like, I'm even having a trouble with the phase spiders. That seems kind of bullshit. Line. There's a line. Weirdly, there is actually a door here. Fancy door functionality, which is very cool. A door. Purple for my doors, thank you. Have it open. Stairs will be likely coming in there. Alright, so now we need to make sure we've got lights. We could make it like a, supposed to be the bioluminescent fungi. It's light 2020. Really be bright enough to light everything up. Let's lower that to 0. Put the light color at green. What does that look like? I think it's pretty effective. I don't want to do too many. So we'll copy you, put one there, there, and maybe there. Is that getting too much? Tell me. No, okay. That looks cool. Serious mood lighting. Q and make it green fire everywhere. It's kind of crazy. That. So, within the Tower of Necromancy, you can also make them a Clockwork Menagerie. Crazy ass mage. Yeah, that's interesting. Kind of got the constructs with the mage, and they really haven't done the clockwork thing much. But yeah, you could have like just the theme of that area was clockwork creatures. I mean, I like that it was basically the zoo. It was the zoo of Ethrin, but because they were these mages with just god complexes, I guess. The brain in the jar here. I think I have to make Lawrence in here again. I did with the expanded towers of. Yeah. All right, brain of a jar exists as a creature in here. I believe it does. Creatures. Brain in a jar does exist. That one's called Veranda Brain. Is that the only brain? Or Veneranda, sorry. The only brain picture I have? I think I was going to use this as my one of my final bosses and actually like use a mother brain thing, expand it to like this size. I think that'd be cool. And I'm going to tease the fact that they're doing the Brain in the Jar thing with Tower of Necromancy. But then, basically, this is what Iriel Arthas will be. It'll be like a giant Brain in a Jar. And I think I'm going to use the Elder Brain stat block to do it in the Spire. A lot of custom content. But that won't even probably be the final boss. That'll be just the final challenge of Aetherin to get to the Mythalar. And then once they reach the Mythalar, then there'll be all the other factions, you know, wanting a piece of the pie and the players having to deal with it. And who knows how that final thing is going to go. So I don't even think the Elder Brain thing is actually going to be the true finale for me. There we go. There's Lawrence. Look at that. That's hilarious. Oh, Lawrence. In order to do Lawrence, we have to make a rollable token. Or sorry, rollable table. Not the most intuitive process. We add, we'll call it Lawrence. Players cannot roll from this table. Add an item. Item number 1 will be blank Lawrence. I can label them, but I don't think it matters. Blank. Add item. Item 2 will be happy. Happy Lawrence. Item number 3, notice how I'm not changing the weight or anything, is what is that face like? Diabolical faces. Evil smile. And then final one is frowny face. Okay, so now that we did that, and save it, and then you click the token button. That spawns a token on the map. So this was the old token. Notice how it doesn't have any multi-sided to it. And then you right click this one and it says multi-sided. And now I can choose side. Now I can swap this token around in order for him to write little things. And I think that is a hilarious, immersive part of this adventure. And this is supposed to be a funny as shit character who is basically insane. Doesn't know he's a brain in a jar. He wears like clothes like around his brain. He uses a mage hand to operate everything and to draw like faces on his jar. Like it's just, I really hope the scopes are well, because I would think this is a delightful character. And he's basically trying to, when they first come in, might even have it be blank first and then have draw the things on there. There he is. And he's operating on a Nothic, and he's trying to turn the Nothic into a brain in a jar. He's asking for their assistance. And I think Edmund alone would have a field day with that. Nothic on the bed. I mean, Mr. Science, are you kidding me? Delightful. Nothic as restrained. The brain wants a man named Lawrence, an apprentice of the High Necromancer Catavix. Willingly underwent the ritual brain transfer from a brain in a jar. Totally Futurama thing, I think. Has been unsuccessfully practicing the ritual, turn creatures into brains in jars on his own. Party arrives, Lawrence is about to attempt the ritual on a restrained Nothic. 16 crawling claws inhabit the room. That's a funny bit we could use as well. I'm tempted to use Gorlings from Cobalt Press because I think they're a little stronger. Not that that's going to really matter. I mean, they're all really shitty. It's more just flavorful that the crawling claws are all just like rolling around, because these are not going to obviously threaten the party at all. So friggin' weak. But 16, that's like, that's a shit ton, right? And they're all supposed to be like the former assistants. Have like a bunch of claws around. I just love that it's like, you walk in, you're just like, what the fuck is going on? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And I'll have a couple around the floor, I guess, 15, 16. 16 crawling claws looks like. Crawling claws originated from dead wizards of the tower. Yeah, Lawrence no longer believes he's a brain in the jar and does strange things like wearing a lab coat hanging from his jar, floating around with crawling claws at the end of his sleeves as if he had hands, and drawing facial expressions on the glass with paint. All of that is awesome. The character suggests that Lawrence is a disembodied brain and begins to grow irritable. Reminded of his form 3 times, he suffers a psychic break and becomes hostile towards the characters. So technically it can be a fight, but you'd have to be a real dick to him. Although my party can be definitely big dicks. Lawrence knows the arcane principle of the necromantic ritual to create a brain in a jar, but lacks the precision and medical skills to keep the brain intact during surgery. He has to pray to assist in this task. Successfully incapacitate the restrained Nothic without damaging the body. Lawrence recommends the use of poison stored on the shelves in the room. Feels like hypnotic pattern or hold monster also work. Make a successful wisdom medicine check to identify safe places to perform surgical cuts to extract the brain without damaging it. Only a DC 15. Wow. Then a DC 15 dex check to physically make the surgical cuts and perform the extraction without damaging the brain. Alchemist supplies give you advantage. Process successful. Lawrence completes the necromantic component of the ritual, killing Nothic and creating another very confused brain in a jar. Yeah. Lawrence offers to repeat the process for any character who wishes to partake. Ritual results in the death and liquefaction of the subject's body at your discretion. The process can be used on the body of a player character that has been died within the last 24 hours. That's funny. I think that's delightful. I think Edmund would absolutely love this. Would love the chance. I mean, I don't know if he would want to become a brain in a jar, but he would be fascinated by this entire process, and I think it would be absolutely delightful. You just, yeah, I think it's going to go great. But you don't get any information about any Arcane Octad, so if you would ask about that, he'd probably say, well, maybe High Necromancer Catavix, you know, would know about that sort of thing, and he would kind of gesture upstairs with one of his crawling claws or something. Upstairs, and the whole tower is interestingly under the permanent effects of a gentle repose spell, so any dead bodies remain dead in here, which is important because you still have the dead body of High Necromancer Catavix. He died during the fall. The bones lying around the room are part of Catavix's exquisite fossil collection, various rare creatures. High Necromancer Catavix's soul is trapped inside the large emerald worth 500 gold as part of a magic jar spell he cast when Etern fell. His body is dead and broken, so we cannot safely return to it. The party enters the room. Catavix basically tries to possess a target using a DC 17 Charisma saving throw. I guess do we need to look up the magic jar spell? Is that what's happening for that? Not really a creature. This is kind of like the phylactery thing. Won't have its container. You work surroundings if you're in the container space. God, so he's been in this thing for like since the fall. That's insane. How this guy has not gone absolutely insane is crazy. The only action you can take is project your soul up to 100 feet out of the container, or attempt to possess a humanoid's body. You can attempt to possess any humanoid, which he wouldn't be able to do Thimbleweed, by the way. We've covered that. Thimbleweed's not a humanoid. Then 100 feet of you that you can see. Target must make a charisma saving throw. On a failure, your soul moves into the target's body, and the target's soul becomes trapped in the container. Ooh, that's scary. On a success, the target resists your efforts to possess it, and you can attempt to possess it again for 24 hours. In theory, though, couldn't you just boom, 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 try every single player? Because it would really suck if it can't possess anybody. Once you possess a creature's body, you control it. Your game statistics are replaced by the statistics of the creature. So you would retain your alignment and your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma scores. That's weird. So that your mental stats don't get replaced, even though it's the soul of the creature coming in. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at it backwards. It's you, as in you're the one possessing the creature's body. So you would superimpose your alignment and your mental states onto that creature. In the benefit of your own class features, possessed creature's soul can perceive from the container using its own senses, but can't move or take any actions at all. Now you might think, holy shit, Eric, can you do this to a player? And I'm saying, well, yes, but only temporarily. And it does say, a creature that resists saving throw can be, yeah. Catavix will immediately try another character that first resists a saving throw until no target remains viable. Okay, answer that question. And then, yeah, there's a handout I need to copy. But he can raise his own body. Catavix wants to find the fate of his love, High Enchanter Elvira. I'm going to change that. If Catavix has successfully possessed a player character, he will grab the emerald and announce himself in the party in Laros, which Professor Scott translates. Okay, searching for a 500 gold diamond, which he locates after 1 minute. A character that makes a successful DC 20 intelligence check and is searching for a diamond locates before he does. After locating the diamond, Cadix will begin casting Raise Dead for the next hour. The Aura of Repose makes this possible. He believes he may be interrupted before beginning. He will, this is kind of creepy. He will say, I will destroy the body I possess if you defy me. But I mean, good luck. Couldn't they just cast some kind of spell on him to shut him down? Successful insight check reveals he does not have much heart behind the threat and is more anxious than aggressive. If he is interrupted before the hour has passed, the diamond is consumed, and Cadix grows increasingly more anxious and states, do not let me have my body, then this body shall suffice. My business is concluded. So the really cool thing is, this character is, this whole thing is just not what the players would expect, and I didn't expect it either going into it. This, the High Necromancer is not evil at all. He's just lovesick. He's in love with another character in Ithrin, who's actually the High Enchanter, but I'm cutting the enchantment one out. I mean, Ooblexes are fun and everything, but I don't know. It would probably work better for lower level characters, and it's just one of the ones I'm gonna cut. And I think it would be really cool if instead his lover was fucking Auril, because in my campaign, Auril was originally a wizard from Ithrin, and she ascended into godhood by drawing power from the Mythalar, and that's actually what caused the destruction of the entire city. So maybe, and I can really play into some like cool backstory here and really tease things, and that would make this a very important character to have with them, and would, you know, clearly be a big advantage. They could deal with Auril in that way, and I would have to obviously be prepared for any serious questions about that, because this would be a rare chance for the players to just totally have access to somebody who would be able to give them information about Ithrin. Although he's also been trapped in a diamond for like almost 2,000 years, so he's probably also going to be pretty fucking weird and kind of insane about that. At any point, ask the party for the line of the right arcane Octad. Cadix offers to tell them the 7th line after they help him discover the fate of High Enchanter Elvira. So instead, I'll probably have to change that slightly, because he'll tease the fact that, like, you know, Auril, and the players, you know, I want to make it pretty obvious where he'll be like, you know, the things he says, they'll be like, oh shit, wait, what? How did you? And they'll even like, how do you know, like, Auril? What? And, like, I could really kind of tease things here. And then, so maybe it'll be more the case, like, he'll give him the right if he can successfully raise his body. Or maybe he'll even keep it in his back pocket and be like, I will, you know, take me with you, and I will be the one to give it to you when, you know, when we reach the entrance of the spire. Basically, like, I'm going to go all the way, and really, I could add this as a freaking NPC. I believe his stat block is just a what's the necromancer from? Yeah, Valos. This one, necromancer wizard. I need to scale it up, not too strong, but it should be decently strong enough to be a high wizard. So we should be kind of close in power to where the players are, probably at least 5th level spells. The players are very powerful too. So I'm really excited about this, but I'm also very nervous because it's a crazy thing to do story-wise. Yeah, it does take Cadix's memory be hazy after 2,000 years. We cannot provide too many other details outside of the Ithrin lore. Party aspect the Ithrin Mythalar, you can have Cadix share where it is located. The last person attuned to it was his master Uriel Arthas, who resides in the central spire of the city. And maybe he would be able to tease the fact that, like, Uriel Arthas was a big proponent of the brain in jar system, and, you know, tease like maybe what he has become. Okay, a regular necromancer wizard stat block is a CR9. Gosh, only 110 hit points. And this has the more modern, like, oh, instead of spells, it just has this many it can cast a day. At will, Dancing Lights, Mage Hand, Prestidigitation, 2 per day each, Bestow Curse, Dimension Door, Mage Armor, and Web, and once per day, Circle of Death. How the hell Then an appropriate necromancer wizard. Oh, because your stat block is just auto attack. I see. Necrotic damage. So it's like the evoker wizard. Our DMs are like, I don't want to be casting all these spells. Just let me auto attack with them, which I guess I have mixed feelings about. I think it's this one then, the necromancer that actually has proper spells. I mean, 4d10 plus 3. What does that even roll out to? Jeez. That's, okay. Maybe around 20 damage average. Kind of rolled all over the place. And it can do that 3 times. That's, yeah, that's very strong. It doesn't feel like a necromancer wizard. It's like, oh, you're just doing necrotic. Oh, man, I had a fucking roll 20 error when I tried to open that one. That's weird. I may have to give him a more interesting stat block. Bestow Curse. Like, who is using that spell? Come on now. Web, at your level, sir. I mean, Web's solid, but still. At your age. We know you can cast Magic Jar. What the fuck? Yeah, that's 6th level necromancy spell, so he needs at least 6th level spells. So I may have to just build a stat block for him. Or maybe I'll use whatever Eternal Expanded Tower Magic I actually used. I'll have to look up the stat block. I may use that one. Clearly it is not the regular necromancer wizard. I'm guessing it's this one. Yeah, this looks like more appropriate. So this is the necromancer that actually has spells. 12th level spellcaster. And it has a 6th level slot, so I could just replace Circle Death with Magic Jar or something. From Harvest, yeah, this is a better stat block. I'll probably use. Well, I'll use this one and combine it with the wizard, so he has more freaking hit points, though. I liked the wizard's hit points at 110. So nothing in here is meant to be a fight. This is all meant to be just crazy social stuff happening, and just, I mean, the fact that I'm going to try to possess a player character and basically give them, like, oh, now you're this character. Which I'm going to try to do as whoever goes upstairs first, I guess. But the interesting thing is he can do it constantly to everybody. DC 17 is no joke. Obviously, Valravn probably has a good charisma score. I would assume everybody else does not have good charisma saves. I'm guessing he'd be able to do it on somebody, but it's the fact that he can continually do it. Yeah, the monk's got a +0. Guessing Edmund does not have. Edmund's got a -1. Guessing Frey's negative as well. And I mean, somebody could always roll well. No, Frey's actually a 1. Good for her. She's a 12 charisma. Barbarian did not dump charisma. Thimbleweed is also a -1. Man. Need more charisma saves. My enemies, don't I? Well, Robin's gonna be +1 billion. Hard. Yeah, +10. So there's almost no chance of doing that. But like I said, DC 17. Can always overcome my grief when to join his love in the afterlife. Skipping that party. So the way I'm changing it is going to make things a lot harder for me, because before it's a cool idea because it motivates you to go to the Tower of Enchantment and complete that, and then you get to wrap up those storylines, and he's not an NPC that stays with the party forever. But what I'm going to attempt to do is instead make him an integral, surprise, important NPC who is tied to Auril, and maybe would act as a weakness for her, because maybe she would still have some, buried deep feelings in that frozen heart of hers, and really go with this out of left field romantic angle that would allow, if he's still alive or something, maybe he can either do something or act as a debuff or, whatever that would momentarily, maybe she just spins around killing him or something. I don't know. We can figure something out, but that's kind of my goal, is to make it so he makes it all the way to the end and actually does have a confrontation with her. That does make it tricky because that's adding another NPC to the party, assuming I can get away with everything I want to do, which is possessing a party member and then raising his own body, and then I guess he would just possess his own It says you can use your action to return from the host body to the container if it's 100 feet, returning the host's body. If the container is destroyed, the spell ends, your soul immediately returns to your body. Body is dead. When you attempt to return it, you die from the creature's soul. Okay, so yeah, one thing they could do is they could kill him. Well, he'd try to possess people first, and then if they, I guess if they destroy the jewel that the other person is in, then they would kill that person. Or no, sorry, they would return to the body. Container is destroyed or the spell ends. Your soul immediately returns to your body. What if there's another soul in your body? Your body is more than 100 feet away from you, or if your body is dead when you return to return, you die. If another soul is in the container, another creature's soul is in the container when it is destroyed, the creature's soul returns to its body if it's alive within 100 feet. Otherwise, that creature dies. I guess my question is, am I not reading it right? What happens if you've done the swap successfully, you put another creature in there, and then the container is destroyed? Does that person get to return to their body? In which case, where do you go? It explains that. We have to look that up, because this might be relevant information to know exactly how this spell works, because there's going to be a lot of questions about this. I know he tries to grab the thing, doesn't he? This found fate is true love. Yeah, he'll grab the emerald and announce himself to the party in Laros. So he's basically holding the other person's soul in the jar. He'll cast Raise Dead for an hour. And the thing is, yeah, if he does that, then he can just return to his own body, and that person gets to return to theirs. So the problem is he just couldn't do Raise Dead before. So I like all how that works. There's a neat little twist where it's like, hey, just wait for an hour for me to raise the dead. Raise my dead body. But yeah, they might be like, wait, we don't want to do this. He might be this huge asshole. So I'm fascinated to see how the characters deal with this. I've got a lot of story stuff I have planned, but of course they could interrupt those in the worst possible way and shut it down completely. In which case, we'll have to move on to something else. He does have a lot of loot. 500 pounds of fossils with a total of 10,000 gold. A 500 gold diamond, which he does use for Raise Dead. 500 gold emerald, which is used for the magic jar spell. A Librum of Souls and Flesh. Catavix's spellbook can also be found, but it's faded away over the years, no longer usable. Search of his body. Yeah, in that case, he wouldn't be able to actually use any spells, wouldn't it? That'd be shitty. Or maybe I guess it's just a change of spells. Search of Catavix's body yields a ring of sound mind. And a love letter from Elvira to Catavix, which I'm going to change Elvira to probably come up with what her name was before, maybe? I don't know if it was... It'd be funny if I could tease it where it's like her name was something else. Maybe it was Elvira, I don't... Name that's similar to Oral. Cast Tiny Hut before he casts Raise Dead Ritual. Tiny Hut costs 10 minutes to cast, though. Or it's 1 minute, maybe. I forget. 10 minutes or 1 minute. Man, yeah. So I'm both nervous and excited about this. And like I said, the crazy thing is there's probably not going to be any combat here. I use that actual token, or is that the... Check. Also female. That's just a weird ass picture. Okay. I'll have to come up with a... Maybe this one. Yeah, a dude. That might work. Centric. Yeah, I might use that token. That's from the creature codex, but use the other stat block. What I say? Probably this stat block with a combination of this, the Necromancer Wizard's hit points. Or I could just look in the art gallery for a picture that fits it, but that could work just fine. The Necromancer from the creature codex. CR. BR6 with 49 hit points. It's the worst one of all. Does have good combat spells though. Vampiric Touch, Animate Dead, Cloud Kill, Cone of Cold. I guess the rule, you could argue there would be way too, this is giving the players a lot of firepower with still a couple of things left to do in Etherine and the whole ending battle left. I could see why you could almost treat him as a non-combat NPC and literally just have the excuse of my spellbook's destroyed, so I can't cast any spells, and I'm not here to fight, and yada yada yada. Yeah, I could maybe look at, because that seems like too. I've already got Valen with them, and Valen's kind of become a nice joke where she's not very helpful in combat for the most part. Although I got to unleash a blight spell, but I kind of like that she's not very effective in combat because I never want to show the players up with a DMPC. But in this case, I'd be worried because that would be a very powerful dude. But maybe that's why he doesn't have a spell book, so that helps him. So powerful. All right, that is the Tower of Necromancy. We've made some more progress here, but that is all the time I have for this episode of Crafting Icewind Dale. If you enjoy the content, please do check out patreon.com/RogueWatson. Shouts to Platinum patrons Joe, Will, Thomas, Stan, Brandon, Genocider, David, Eclectic, Roleplay Roll, Christopher, Brian, William, David, Corey, Koa, 1337, Matthew, Big Nut, John, Chris, Scott, Gene, Eric, and Socks. And gold patrons, RPG, Papercrafts, Pretty Boy, and Yuma, Marcus, Dead Lizard, Lion, Sam, Lumpy Spuds, Jerome, Nathan, Fastica, Tortoise, Scott, Rufus, Carolyn, and William. Thank you all very much for your support. I will probably not see you on Thursday for crafting stream because I'm on semi-vacation this week. But I will see all of you for Friday's stream of D&D. Have a great week.